Hey, everybody. Hope and pray that you're doing well today as we come to our word from the Word. And today that word is present. Present. Now, yesterday we talked about the past and how it can come back to haunt us. And here, I believe, as you get to Genesis 50, I believe the brothers of Joseph thought that their past really had caught up with them now that Jacob was dead. They have buried Jacob, come back, and now the brothers are really unsure of how Joseph is going to handle them. How is he going to deal with them? You know, the ones who put him into this whole position and this whole predicament in the first place, the ones that sold him into slavery. Well, you saw that picture I put up, right? There is no time like the present. And I think sometimes it takes the realization of going through the difficult times in the past to get us to the place that we are, to where we recognize the hand of God and we realize, man, there's nowhere I'd rather be than right here where God would have me to be. It may not be comfortable. It may not be even as it was for Joseph at this moment, second in command. Remember, there's still a lot of things going on, but yet he says, you know what? There's a reason that God has allowed all this to happen. So let's look in this verse 20. We're going to look at verses 15 through 21 today, but verse 20 is essentially the Romans 8:28 of the Old Testament, knowing that God is working everything together for good. And it's such insight on Joseph's part, and it is such an example for us today in the present. So Genesis 50, verses 15 through 21. When Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead, they said, perhaps Joseph will hate us and may actually repay us for all the evil which we did to him. So they sent messengers to Joseph, saying, before your father died, he commanded, saying, thus you shall say to Joseph, I beg you, please forgive the trespass of your brothers and their sin, for they did evil to you. Now please forgive the trespass of the servants of the God of your father. And Joseph wept when they spoke to him. Then his brothers also went and fell down before his face, and they said, behold, we are your servants. Joseph said to them, do not be afraid, for am I in the place of God? But as for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, in order to bring it about as it is this day, to save many people alive. Now, therefore, do not be afraid. I will provide for you and your little ones. And he comforted them and spoke kindly to them. There's so much even in these few short verses. The fact that the brothers, realizing now that maybe Joseph was being nice to them because of their father, but now that their father is dead, thinking now he's going to repay us. They don't even want to go to him in person. That shows that fear was genuine. And they send some messengers, but apparently they hear or understand that Joseph is weeping when he hears the message. And so they go to him, and now they're weeping, and now they're bowing at his feet, saying, look, we will be your servants. In other words, we know we have done wrong. We know we deserve punishment. We deserve terrible things. So let us be your servants. Joseph's response, right? So the prophecy of God, the dream of God that was given to Joseph has now completely come true again, right? That his brothers are bowing down before him just as he had seen. But yet he does not use that authority. He does not use his position of power to make them slaves. He uses his position as a believer in the one true God. He uses his position that they are all under the rule of God. And he says, who am I? I'm not going to take the place of God. In other words, let God be your judge. Let God judge the things that you've done. But today, I understand God has worked all these things together. He says, so it would be as it is this day, to save many people alive. See, Joseph could have gotten hung up in the past if he had not realized that God used that past to mold and make what he was experiencing in the present. And not just him, but all, right? He is essentially saving a nation, and he actually saves many other nations as well. All those that would come together, all the surrounding area of Egypt that were coming together. Think about how far they had to come from Canaan to Egypt to get food during the famine, what brought all these things together. And so he says, essentially, I know God has allowed it. And we could go further, that God has caused it, that God has been in control of it. So, brothers, don't worry. There's no need to be afraid. I'm not going to repay evil to you. Instead, I'm going to take care of you. And I'm going to take care of your children as well. Wow, what an example of what Jesus calls the two greatest commandments, right? In the New Testament, when they ask him about it, he says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and your neighbor as yourself. Joseph has realized that God is the one true God. God has caused and allowed these things to happen, to have things as they are this present day. And instead of repaying evil to his brothers, he repays love and grace and mercy. See, the mercy would be just not to make them be punished. The grace was to say, not only am I not going to punish you, but I'm also going to bless you. I'm also going to take care of you, even though your heart was evil, even though your desires were evil. He says, God has brought all these things together so it would be as it is this day. So today, as much as we talked about yesterday about being in the past and how it can come back to haunt us and come back to still drive our future, we need to understand just as much that God has allowed and caused those things in our past to cause what we are experiencing today in the present. And when you look around, if you really take a moment and look around, you may not know where you're at in that journey. So to use Joseph's life as an example, you may not realize whether or not it's going to be the moment in the pit, the moment in prison, the moment in the palace, the moment after you've gone through all of these things, or is it the moment that now you can look to others and say, I know God has put all these things together so that today we could all come together and worship the one true God, knowing he's in control of it all. Today, are you thankful for the present that God has given you? God bless you, and I pray you have a great, great day.